Yo, what's up everybody? I'm Akeem Lawanson, and in today's Fix of Entertainment news, we've got Avatar news, an update on Peacemaker Season 2, and James Gunn breaking down the differences between the DCU, the MCU, and how he plans on approaching this new universe he's building at the DC studios. Now, all this and more in today's Fix. Let's drop it. And with James Gunn stepping into the driver's seat at DC Studios, the question a lot of people might have is how does he plan on differentiating his approach to projects from the decades-long MCU formula established at Marvel Studios by Kevin Feige? Well, speaking on actor Michael Rosenbaum's podcast Inside of You, Gunn answered that very question, explaining how each approached secret identities differently. Now, the MCU doesn't necessarily deal much with secret identities and the duality of having one, save for Spider-Man. Now, within the DCU, he explains that's all there really is. Batman and Bruce Wayne, Superman and Clark Kent, etc. Now, here's more of what he had to say.
If you look at the MCU, there are very few superheroes. There are very few traditional superheroes. There was never a guy with a secret identity until Spider-Man in the MCU. Their Cap was turned into a soldier, even though he wears a mask.
And that's all there was in DC.
Iron Man outed himself at the end of the first Iron Man because they don't want to deal with the secret identity stuff. So there is a bit more of a fantasy element to DCU because there are these larger than life superheroes, and you can't take that. You're not going to make. People are going to do whatever they're going to do in the future. But for me, there's Superman and Clark Kent, like they're two different characters, and you have to find a way to deal with them that's as grounded as possible within this world of DC.
Now, he went on to mention how much he's excited to create true world building within the DCU, given how vastly different cities like Gotham and Metropolis are. Now, these aren't known quantities like cities within the MCU, such as Marvel's favorite playground, New York City. Now, there's more of a fantasy element within the DCU given its fictional cities and locations. Now, that's not to say the MCU doesn't necessarily have that. It's just that the DCU contains more of it, and Gunn's focused on exploring that more within the big and small screen. Now, I think, a lot of comic fans love the duality of having a secret identity these larger-than-life heroes have to maintain and separate from their other half. And with Gunn taking on both the writing and directing for Superman Legacy, we'll see how he explores these fantastical locations and the type of world building he has in store for Superman, Clark Kent, and the denizens of Metropolis. Not to mention seeing his interpretation of Krypton and the villains within the Superman world. Now, some might be skeptical of Peter Safran and James Gunn's approach, but just listening to Gunn on that podcast and how passionate he seems to be with what he has planned for comic fans, it really sounds like, they have the very best intentions. It sounds like he plans on upholding the main pillars of DC Comics by keeping the main things that drive the narration seen within the pages of the comics. Now, we're going to get to see the duality behind having a secret identity, how that affects the titular heroes of the story, and expansive world building not beholden by real-world locations. Now, exciting stuff ahead for DC fans. The Superman Legacy kicks off Chapter 1 of the Gods and Monsters storyline we'll see unfold within the DCU. Now, after Superman Legacy, James Gunn is keeping busy with work on Season 2 of Peacemaker. Now, on the very same podcast with Michael Rosenbaum, Gunn gave us a little insight on what we can expect and when. Now, he said, quote, "Peacemaker's coming back right after I do Superman. That's my next thing. I'll go straight into Peacemaker from Superman." So it seems like there's not much rest for the director, going right into the Max series, which likely won't see the light of day until sometime in 2026. Now, Superman Legacy is scheduled to release July 11th, 2025. Now, I think a lot of DC fans might be wondering how Peacemaker will fit into the wider DCU. But Peacemaker isn't the only Suicide Squad movie alum that's coming back to the small screen. Viola Davis will reprise her role as Amanda Waller in a series based on the character, serving as a spin-off of the Peacemaker series. Now, over on Disney territory, we're expecting some delays of upcoming projects. Now, the next 3 Avatar movies are getting bumped by a year, meaning we can expect the next Avatar film December 19th, 2025. Now, hopefully gamers will still be enjoying the upcoming Ubisoft game, Frontiers of Pandora. Maybe we'll get a DLC or two to keep up the hype and momentum heading into the third film's 2025 release. Now, as for 4 and 5 of the Avatar films, expect those in 2029 and 2031 respectively. Now, moving on to other Disney properties, Deadpool 3 has been bumped to May 3rd, 2024. Now, my hope for this one is that maybe we'll be enjoying that Wolverine video game sometime in 2024, given the fact that he'll be showing up and showing off his claws in that movie. But, given how little we've seen of the Insomniac video game, it might be just wishful thinking on my part for us to be able to play the game along with seeing Logan alongside the Merc with a mouth. But I don't know, man. Things can happen, and I hope they do. Now, moving on into space territory, the next Ridley Scott-produced Alien film is set for August 16th, 2024. Now, as for Star Wars, there's apparently 2 slated to release in 2026, one in May and another in December. Now, no premise has been given at this time for any of these films. Now, there's a ton more dates that have gotten pushed back, and to check out the exhaustive list of reshuffled dates, head on over to IGN.com. And finally, with the pushed dates coming from Disney, the next Avatar movie has some time to breathe. In fact, producer John Landau gave us this sneak peek of a BTS shot from the upcoming movie. Now, he mentions how much hard work goes into the Avatar films and how excited the team is to take fans back to Pandora. Now, in the behind-the-scenes look, you see some Na'vi doing what they do best, look blue and tall. Now, this upcoming film will shift the narrative away from Jake Sully and focus more on his son. As stated previously, expect Avatar 3, December 19th, 2025. All right, and that about does it for today's Fix of Entertainment News. I'm Akeem Lawanson, and thank you so much for watching. Now that you're caught up on today's news, please check out our previous episode. Download the IGN app on all your devices, and for everything else, stick with IGN.